Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I want to talk about this quick thing that Elon Musk dropped just a couple of hours ago here of Optimus walking around the lab. Yeah, it's going to be a relatively quick hot take kind of thing. But anyway, first of all, let's take a look at what we have. Elon dropped this, and Whole Mars actually made a note. He said this looks like a UFO footage because it's so low quality. But I would actually say it looks like Bigfoot footage. So if you remember those Bigfoot videos from like, I don't know, what was that, like 1968 or something, that super crappy video. But anyway, on the good end of things, you can see Optimus here is walking and being very, very confident. Again, we don't have tethering, which is very, very nice to see. I have suggested over on another post here, right here, that I said I think he's walking a Bezier spline path around the hall because he never actually hits any of the X's. And so if we look at it, there are a bunch of X's on the ground, and yeah, he sort of passes through some of them. But I think those are the little black marks, very, very difficult to see because, of course, the quality is super, super low resolution. But I think that he's actually walking a path marked out by those X's, at a guess at least. Is he teleoperated? Don't know. Is he doing this autonomously? Don't know. Whatever it is, the balance is excellent, though, and he's walking very, very well. Much more upright. And by the way, Bezier splines, if you've ever seen, like, if you've used Illustrator, Photoshop, whatever, you've seen those. Those are the paths that are curvature. Is it third degree? They're third degree splines, and you pull out the control handles on them, and so they move kind of close to the points that they're supposed to go through, but not in them. And Bezier would make sense to be the proper motion that it would do because it's smooth. It never has a discontinuity or kind of a break or something like that. And obviously, you want the robot to be walking in a smooth motion, not having to like stop and turn or something. Although Scott does have some comments about that we're going to get to next. But anyway, you can see that it's moving, very well. The legs still are not perfectly straight like an adult human, but much, much closer. There is definitely toe off. So watch the feet. This is passive toe off on Optimus, unless they've changed things. It's just a torsion bar or a spring in the toe of the foot, which bends like this, and then it lifts up again. It springs back to straight. So we're getting nothing particularly magical about that, but the toe off is really important to the way that we walk. And that torsion bar does, the reason why we do toe offs is because that last little bit gives us kind of a spring in our step and allows us to walk faster and everything. So there's a lot of really, really good stuff going on here. Again, quality is terrible. We actually were making a joke about this because Scott and I last time, and I'm sure other people too, there was the naked Optimus last time he walked around and Elon showed it off. And so you could really get in there, and the quality wasn't great, but it was much, much higher than this. And so you could actually get in and look at the mechanisms inside Optimus. So whether it's intentional or not, we've got this time around, you're only seeing the general body of Optimus. You're not seeing anything particularly revealing about the insides. But it's very cool to see him, kind of working it out with the skin and looking like the actual completed bot. I was actually just getting a little bit distracted because I was looking at the head, and I'm trying to figure out whether the head is actually moving or not. Since it's black and since it's such low quality footage, I'm not positive, but I think it might be, and it might actually be doing a little bit of a parrot walk or something like that. So it might just be the upper body is doing that kind of motion. But I think that there might be a very small amount of head rotation as well, which would be really cool if that's being added on into the walking motion. But generally speaking, the walking looks really, really good, very, very solid. And let's move on to Scott's analysis of things. So confident, turns smoothly, yes, all of the above. 132 steps in 78 seconds, so good for him for counting. It's too early in the morning for me. That's 1.67 steps per second, given just division. So the stride length looks more than 1 foot size. So he's kind of making some guesses here. So he's talking about 1.1 miles per hour, 1.3 miles per hour, 0.6 meters per second. Still needs to double. A human walks somewhere around 1.5 meters per second, at a good walking pace. So he needs to double his speed, but is definitely looking very smooth. I commented on that and said it looks much, much smoother than before. Turns are getting better. Pirouette is next and important. So pirouetting, of course, would be the ability to spin around. I actually put in, I would love to see him ski. And I'm not joking about that, or maybe ice skate or something along those lines. But watching a bot be able to do a motion that involves sliding instead of having a completely high friction surface to stand on, right, like normal flooring and things like that, to have something where you've got a sliding surface under it, so it's either like ice skating with a blade or it's skiing with a long ski. The ability to balance, and that's going to be a really, really trippy thing. I just realized that a couple of years from now, if we go to to like Heavenly or something like that out in or Tahoe near near San Jose, we might actually see an Optimus skiing as a test thing. And actually Sanctuary, who knows? I mean, they've got their robot, and they live pretty close to Whistler, so maybe they can actually take their robot skiing. So I think that these tricks, right? And a pirouette is a dance kind of move where it spins around. Now, I don't think, Scott is talking about it going up on one leg and doing on point like a ballerina at this point, but the ability to put a foot behind the other foot and then rotate itself around. I can't do that very well with my fingers, but anyway, it's like that kind of motion. So, a foot behind or in front of the other foot, and then kind of a spinning around so it can turn basically 180 degrees. That would be an important, step for the bot to be able to do to indicate that it's walking. So one other quick thing here, we just talked about figure robotics in the video last night. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it at the end of this video. But Herbert and CERN and Scott and I got on and talked about that because they just got 650 or 675 million. I don't know. It's a lot of money. They got a ton of money that people are throwing at them, including the likes of NVIDIA, Jeff Bezos, Microsoft, OpenAI, Samsung, et cetera, et cetera. There's a ton of really, really big companies that are very interested in this technology, and the space is accelerating quickly. So again, Tesla is working on this stuff, and Tesla is one of the only options for us normal retail investors to be able to invest in humanoid robots, because most of the other companies are private, so you can't really invest in them. So I'm not investment advice, never investment advice on this channel, do your own research, but it's interesting to see the collective movement. So it's not just what Tesla is doing, but what everybody is doing at the same time, and the movement we are seeing towards a pretty remarkable advancement in robotics. It's the kind of thing where it seemed like science fiction 2 years ago, and now it's like, holy crap. We saw Boston Dynamics make these tiny incremental changes over decades and make little by little by little adjustments and improvements. And now all of a sudden we're seeing just incredible improvements happening really rapidly across a wide spectrum of companies, from the gigantic like Tesla to very, very small companies that are not big at all, but they actually we're getting an amazing amount of progress across this stuff, and we're seeing really impressive improvements in hand dexterity. Some companies are concentrating a little bit more on the brain and on the hands and things. You can see that Tesla is really concerned about the ability for this thing to walk. Now, of course, it's also doing sorting and all sorts of other activities, but for Tesla, for this thing to be a good factory bot, it's going to need to be able to move around the factory, and that is going to require it to, have mobility. So yes, it could be like EVANNEX, and they could be doing something where they just have it on rollers, and that's great for a factory, and that could work as well. But clearly what Tesla has done is they've gone the full humanoid bot route, right? They want it to look like a human being with a couple of legs, couple of arms, head, all of that kind of stuff, and pressure sensors and all of that. So this is an important milestone for Tesla. It looks like what they're doing is they're strategically working a little bit differently than they have in the past. In the past, they've done these AI days. The last one was in September of 2022, so it's been quite a while, but they would sort of save it up and do a whole bunch of announcements at once over a gigantic, mind-melting 3-hour presentation. And it appears what they're doing is maybe trying to redo this a little bit. I have a feeling they will do another AI day this year, 2024. We will see. But I think in the meantime, what they're trying to do, number one, probably for a little bit of publicity, because otherwise people are going to be like, oh, Tesla's fallen behind. But number two, to just sort of spread this out a little bit, to not have to do, 5 or 6 hours of gigantic block of a presentation, so that they can actually present a little bit of this at a time, and we can see it as consumers and as interested parties in what's going on. So I think that's part of what's going on. And then Elon's probably just proud of the team. He's probably just like, hey, this is pretty cool. What's going on? So I don't know exactly how this came about, and I don't know why the resolution is so bad, but it's really cool to see what Optimus is doing. I'm very excited about this. And again, this is the kind of thing where I think some people are like, oh, if anybody else succeeds, then Tesla's not succeeding. But I completely disagree with that. This is a space where the total addressable market for humanoid robots could be on the order of trillions of them once we get off the planet. Certainly billions on the planet Earth, and then exponentially larger than that once we get off the Earth. You know, we can do asteroid mining with robots. They can terraform Mars. They can whatever you want. They could live in the clouds on Venus. They can go to Jupiter and check out Io. They can go outside the solar system eventually. So these are kind of a little bit more far flung, but they're not as far flung as they used to be. It seems like, you know, a few years back, it was like laughable that these things would be able to go and be human proxies on outside the planet Earth. But now it's starting to seem pretty reasonable that that could happen. So we will see. I don't know. It's exciting times, and it's really exciting to see what Tesla is working on with their Optimus team. Big congratulations to them. Big congratulations to all the other folks that are working in this space. And it looks like a lot of money is now starting to flow into this space as well. And that is all to the good. It's going to be very disruptive as it happens, because of course this means that you know, these are eventually going to take jobs, but currently a lot of the jobs that a bot like Optimus would take, as opposed to the more large language model centric jobs, the bots that Optimus would take right now, there are 1.1 million, something like that, jobs in the United States alone that are unfilled because people just don't want to do them. They can't be paid enough, blah, blah, blah. So that's the kind of thing that it could take right now. And nobody's going to complain because nobody wants those jobs or is available to take those jobs anyway. Eventually that will change, and it will actually impinge on you know, other people's ability to do work, but that's not going to be for a while. So anyway, let me know what you think about all of this. I find it really amazing. As an animation teacher, I think that he's walking incredibly smoothly right now. It's very, very attractive. The upper body does rock a little bit back and forth, so it's still not perfect by any means, and it looks just a tad like a chicken walking, you know, with the head going bobbing back and forth. But these are major improvements. I mean, where it was a year ago or even a couple of months ago, there are huge improvements to this. So we're seeing it all the time. And of course, this is just one thing that we're watching. This is not all the stuff by any means. There are many, many other advancements that are happening. We just haven't seen them recently. So anyway, let me know what you think, and hopefully you are excited about this as I am. I'm just really fascinated to watch my childhood dreams come to life. All right, everybody have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.